Hello, this is video training. Unit System, Chapter 1, Creating and Changing User-Defined Records. Okay, let's begin. From the main menu, hit Unit Sales. Okay, as we talked earlier in the previous section, you have the ability to create what we call a user-defined template. And we showed you how that user-defined template ties into the system under unit maintenance. How do you set that up? How do you change it? Whether you really want to use it or not. Let's take a look. I'm going into Workstation and System Options. And let's pick number 11. Create and change RO or Vehicle System Unit Defined Record Control. Now, the service program shares the exact same file. So this may already be done for your dealership. Now let's take a look. I'm going to hit next, and these are some of the samples that we sent. Now this may be much more elaborate than what you want to do. Basically what it has to do is I told the system that whenever I have a boat and I tell it in that product file this is a boat, I want it to look at this template. The name doesn't have to be boat, it can be called anything I want. I might have 4 or 5 different ones. I might have one for sailboat called sailboat. I have maybe one for powerboat. I have one for sports fish boat, and they could have totally different information. Now keep in mind, many dealers don't use this. You've seen that first screen when you're adding a unit. That may be more than enough to keep all the information that you want. You have the first screen, you also have all the accessories and options that you can add. That may be more than what you need. But there again, we have thousands of dealers all across the globe. They're all somewhat different. So what we do is we give our customers the ability so that you tell it what you want to keep track of. So as you see here, I'm telling the computer these things in white are fields that I defined. I told it whenever I have a boat, I want to keep track of whether it's a sail or powerboat. I want to know the length. I want to know the draft. I want to know the boat name. Because when I sell, these are things that I want to keep track of. I want to know the weight, registration number. Some people like to know the type of insurance company, where the customer, this record follows that whole unit after the sale. One of the things you may want to know is, hey, where do you keep your boat? What marina is it kept at? What's the slip number? What type of outdrive do you have? What size props do you have? There again, these are all things that you can keep track of, all different serial numbers. Maybe you work on boats with 3 or 4 or 5 engines and you need to have all the serial numbers and pertinent information for each. You can have as much information as you want. This is page 1 of 3. If I hit next, this is page 2. Maybe you're a dealer who works on navigational equipment is a big part of your business, and it's really important you keep track of each piece of navigational. What type of GPS, what type of fish finder, what type of radar do they have, what type of hookup is it. So there again, you can keep track of anything you want, and they're all searchable. So this is where you define your template that you want to keep track of. Obviously you saw where you would key the information in, and we're going to change this. We're going to create a new one, and then we'll see how it gets looked at. So let's go back here. I have 3 pages of information for boats. That may be overkill for what you want to do. I have one for cars, one for motorcycles, 2 pages of information for motorcycles. I have RVs. RVs is a lot of information. If you're an RV dealer, things that you need to keep track of, things that are very important. Serial numbers of microwaves, refrigerators, things such as that. Okay, let's go back and we're going to take a look. We'll start off, we'll do a boat and we'll do a motorcycle. So let's suppose I'm looking at this boat one here and I'm at page 1 of 3 and I'm saying, you know what, I don't like any of this. Or maybe I like some things. Now keep in mind when you're setting up a user-defined template, and that's true for all. We have a user-defined template for customers. We have a user-defined template for products. This is obviously products. It really shouldn't have customer information here. It should have product information. There's another one for customers. But you can cut and paste. What you want to do when you're setting this up is keep in mind with it when you're entering information. And when we look at this and we're entering information, it's going to start at this first screen and ask me the questions, and I'm going to enter it like this here. And it's going to move down, and then it's going to go over to here, and it's going to go every single page. So to make the system more efficient, so you don't have to use the Enter key or the Tab key a lot, what you want to do is the fields that you're going to use the most of, where you always know almost every single boat I'm going to be entering this and this and this and this, put them on the top on the left-hand side. So as you're defining your fields, the ones most commonly used should start at here and go down to the least commonly used, so that the ones you don't use that often are either way over here or on the last page. So that makes it where you're not always, moving around and skipping around. For example, just so you can see how this works, let's take a look at the screen. Okay, here's what the screen looks like. Let's suppose I want to change this one field. Let's suppose I want to use, I want to take this field here. So I'm clicking on it, see where it's highlighted in yellow. I'm going to right click, I'm going to say I want to copy this. And you know what? I want to stick it over here. And I don't care if it's power sale. So I'm going to paste it. So you can paste and copy. Now obviously I probably would have cut it so I wouldn't have it there, but I'm just going to hit change. Now let's go in and see how that gets utilized. Going into my unit maintenance, and let's just look up a boat here. So we're going to do a lookup, and we're going to say product, and we're going to say boat. And let's just look at any of these boats that we just put in here. Now keep in mind that in the product file, we told it that it was a boat. Now, if I look at my user-defined template, notice the description here. And notice what it's asking me. Okay, enter this in. Now, if I'm entering data, and this is what I defined I wanted, I would enter in this first field. And then I would hit the Tab key. And now, I am just clicking down, Tab or Enter. And so this is why it's important when you're creating fields, the ones that are used the most, you want to keep in order. You don't want to have to enter this here and then all the time you want to enter this one, which means you'd have to click over there or tab many times. Once you do that, you hit OK, and now that's been updated. And it's searchable. So if I do a lookup and I type something that's in there, it's going to tell me exactly who it is. Okay, let's go back to Workstation and System Options. Let's select number 11. And let's do this here. I'm going to type in boat. And you know what? I don't like this at all. I just want to clear this whole thing out. I want to get out, delete it, and create my own. Easiest way to do that is to hit delete. We don't want this one. I just deleted it. Now what I want to do is clear the screen. Now, it doesn't clear the screen because what it'll do, it'll say, look, it maybe there's many things here that you want to keep, and you just want to change things around. Well, you can do that, and that's why it saves everything just the way it is. Or you can say, I want to clear the screen, and you know what? I want to start off fresh and just do my own thing. Now, whether you call it boat or whether you call it whatever you want, A, B, C, it really doesn't matter. What matters is that whatever your user-defined name is, and you could have 10 different ones for 10 different types of boats. Or you could have one. Same thing with motorcycles, no matter what your product is. You'd give it a name. That's the name that you're going to have in your product file. And now it's telling me that that's not out there. We know that. Okay, so you can type in something different here. Now this is, there again, I'm hitting the Tab key. And this is where you'd give it your name. So maybe I want to just type in, that's really important to me, the draft. Well, obviously, T. And I'm going to hit the Tab key. That's the first most important field. Maybe the other one here is, serial numbers or... Now, you can string fields together. For example, each one of these things here, if you need to make, like each one of these are 20 characters long, so that if I want a field and I need 100 characters, I can just name it the same exact name, and it'll string those together. We also have keywords. For example, the unit system gives you the ability to attach one picture or one video, but you can attach as many as you want. Suppose on my boats, I want to be able to have a port picture, a starboard picture, a bow, and a stern. All you need to do is we have keywords. Image. It knows that that field is an image. and it'll keep track of it as a picture, which means if I double click on it, it'll allow me to attach a picture. Now maybe my picture names are extremely long. So what I may want to do is do this. I mean, I can just type in the same thing, or I could just say, you know what? I want to put it here. What that means is when I'm entering that picture now, I have 90 characters of information that I can enter. If I need more, it strings that together as one field. So there again, it's quite easy. You give it the name. All we're really doing is saying, look, this is the name of the field I want. This is what I want to keep track of. You'd create all your different things that you want to keep track of, whether it be serial numbers, different types of products that you may deal with. And when you're done, you're going to hit add. Okay to add. That's now my new boat template. When I bring it up, that's what's going to pop up on the screen. It's going to ask me to say, okay, enter the draft, enter the serial number, attach a picture. Double clicking on that field will allow you to do that. So you can create as many templates as you want. And there again, they can be more than one page. You can go backwards and forwards. You can just hit escape, and you're out. Now we've created a new boat unit. That ties in to this right here, where we have our unit product file, and we type in. And so when we say this is a boat, it knows that's the file that needs to go out because I want additional information every time it's a boat. Now there again, you can have a separate one for a sailboat, so that code would be different. One might be a sailboat, one might be a powerboat, whatever the case may be. Or if you don't want to use a user template, there again, many of our customers start off not using user-defined templates. They typically get into that down the road as they start using the system. That first screen is more than enough, plus all the accessories is usually more than enough than most dealers need. And they don't need that. But for the few that say, hey, look, I want to tell the system what I want to keep track of, it's different from anybody else, then you have the ability to do that. And if you don't want to, you just hit change. And now, when I say it's a boat, it's not even going to try to find a user-defined template. So basically, that's how you can set up user-defined templates and how they're used. There again, if we go in here and we type in a stock number of a particular boat, and I'm using boats, whether it be a boat or whether it be a motorcycle, and then I say user define, here's the new one that we created. Obviously, if I say, well, it's not a boat, it's a motorcycle, and then, we can change this to anything we want here. When we hit user define, obviously now we've got one for a motorcycle. So there again, it makes it a nice tool, especially if you're a dealer where you're selling various different types of products where the system will automatically come up with a totally different screen based on what the product is. Okay, that concludes setting up a user-defined template. Let's move on to our next section.